Welcome to Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. My name is Doug, and today we're going to work on a clay sculpture. And I had the idea because my church asked me to create a dove for Vacation Bible Camp for the kids, and they needed a dove to kind of like fly over Jesus's head when he was getting baptized. So first, maybe they thought origami, but they wanted the wingspan to be around 20 inches. And I thought that's pretty large paper. I don't know where I'm going to get paper that large, origami paper. So then I had the idea to do air dry clay. And I created a dove for the very first time. I never did a bird sculpture before. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. And that gave me an idea for the fall.
'Twas a long time ago, longer now than it seems, in a place that perhaps you've seen in your dreams. For the story that you're about to be told began with the holiday worlds of old. Now you've probably wondered where holidays come from. If you haven't, I'd say it's time you begun.
Okay, so let me show you the dove. I'm wrapping it up right now for my church, putting it in some bubble wrap. And this is the dove. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. I even did a little hook in the back. Hopefully it's gonna hold. But this is just air dry clay. And the way I did it, I'm gonna show you in just a second. But it really was, it really wasn't that hard to do. But you need a lot of material, so we'll talk about that in a second. But I'm really happy. The wingspan is 20 inches, and I'm really happy the way it turned out. So that goes to my church. Now, how did I make it? Well, let's talk about it. So I have this wire here, this sculptured wire. This is for when you do like an armature. And so I had some of this wire. I also used aluminum foil. So the very first thing I did was I measured approximately 20 inches because I wanted the wingspan to be 20 inches. And then I did approximately 20 inches going this way. And you definitely need wire cutters. And this is so easy to manipulate to form. And so I had that, and then I wrapped it with some aluminum foil, and I just kind of created the form. Now, the dove of the chest, it kind of protrudes outward, so I added extra foil there. And then I got this air dry clay off of Amazon. It says Old Potters, and I believe it was around, this is 10 pounds, and I think it was around $29. So I got the air dry clay, and then I kind of like rolled it out and did it probably about 1/4 of an inch thick, and I wrapped it around the armature. And then I started adding clay and just forming it to create the wings, the head. So the top had this little piece sticking out of, so picture it going crossway here, going like this. So this part was sticking out. So I did kind of like a ball for the head, and I kind of formed it. I looked at a lot of pictures basically of a dove to help me, and then I added that on. But I also made sure I did what's called slip and score, where you use uh, water that's mixed with some clay, and you need some type of scoring tool. So the scoring tool could be anything. It could be a stick. I actually had these tools here that I got from when I was going to do some woodworking. But I kind of use these to kind of score it. And but like I said, you can also use just a regular skewer, a stick, and just score it. You do kind of like a tic-tac-toe on both, and then you kind of push it together, and you just make sure it adheres to each other. So the slip is kind of used sort of like a glue. So after I did all that and I let it dry for 3 days, and then after it was dried, I just painted it with some acrylic paint, and basically just used a lot of white and a little bit of gray. And then I kind of mixed some colors, a little bit of brown mixed with a little bit of red and white to kind of get that nose color. The eyes, the same thing, used a little black. Um, and then once it was all painted and it was totally dry, then I used Mod Podge, and I just used the gloss Mod Podge. And Mod Podge is just basically acts as a sealant, sort of, kind of like a glue. And so it looks like Elmer's glue, really, when you put it on. And you just brush it on. You can use a foam brush and just make sure it's nice and smooth and there's no big clumps. And that's really all the steps. And of course, you got to let it dry. And the back, I added some eye hooks, really small eye hooks, and some 22-inch gauge wire so it can be hung. I'm a little concerned with that. Hopefully it's going to hold. But anyway, I did put a little hole up towards the back so you can actually insert a stick if you wanted to put him sort of like on a stick. But I just really love how it turned out, especially it was my first dove, first bird I ever made. So I was really happy with the way it turned out. And yeah, so that gave me some ideas for what I can do this fall. So stay tuned for the second part. Okay, so we're back. So as you know, for Halloween and the fall, I love putting out my Johanna Parker, my Lori Mitchell products, and Bethany Lowe. And so I looked online and I saw this really cute owl. It is a Bethany Lowe owl, and I kind of just drew it. I'm going to show a picture of the real one, but I kind of drew a picture of how I want mine to look. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be creating mine using air dry clay. And I'm going to give it a shot. And I had some ideas. So when I was an art teacher, I had my kids create bobbleheads out of air dry clay. Sometimes we used regular clay, and I put it in the kiln and fired it, and then they glazed it and all that. But air dry clay I thought worked so much better, especially when you're working with kids, because it dries quickly, and then you just paint it with acrylic paint, and you go over it with some Mod Podge, and it kind of gives that glossy look, like as if you glazed it. So it's a little cheating, but I think it looks really cute. But anyway, with this owl, I'm going to be using these toilet paper rolls that I kind of cut out. I'm going to have this wooden block as a base. And so his body is going to be here. His head's going to be here, which the head is going to be larger than the body because he's sitting down. And then I'm going to do the hat, which I just did this with toilet paper roll right now. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like what I did with the dove, get some wire and wrap foil and kind of do like a form that way for the hat. So stay tuned, and we're going to start working on our owl. Okay, we're back and we're going to get started. So a couple of things. What you want is you definitely want a mat, some type of work surface. I'm just using this old tag board. And you want a cup with water because we're going to be doing some slip and score. You need your air dry clay, of course. This is the air dry clay that I have left from my dove that I made. So hopefully this will suffice. I think it will. And we have, what else do we need? We have wire, just in case, because I don't think I'm going to be using this for the hat. I think I'm going to do it with the wire and foil. All right, so you're going to need some of that wire for an armature, and also foil. So I have a little rolling pin here. I also have a little, this is when I had wood making tools, but it's going to act for my scoring. I'm going to use it for my scoring. And then our toilet paper rolls that have been cut. So this I'm going to use for the body, the smaller one, and the bigger one for the head. Because if you look at my drawing, you can see that the head is kind of bigger than the body. All right, because the owl is sitting down. So I'm going to start. I'm going to get a piece of clay here. And you just want to start out by looking at the size of your toilet paper roll. I'm going to do the body first, I think. So I think this is going to be enough. And we're going to roll it out. If you're wondering where you can get these rollers, you can buy them off of Amazon or you go to any art supply store. Same thing for the air dry clay. Now I'm going to make this approximately 1/4 of an inch thick. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put, see, I'm going to need my little cutting tool here. I'm going to put this here, and you want to wrap it. Hopefully you can see that. You're just going to wrap it around tightly around that toilet paper roll. And then I'm just going to kind of cut off the base. And so I'm just going to fold that in just a little bit. And we are going to have our owl sitting on this wooden round too, by the way, but that'll come later. And so I'm looking at that. I think that looks good. I have too much on top, of course. So I'm going to cut my little cutting tool or scoring tool. And I'm going to open that back up. I'm going to fold it. Just mold it going inside. So it has a really thick lip. Now, I'm going to leave that toilet paper roll in there. You could always take it out later. With this extra clay, I'm going to make the wing. And this, the way it is actually cut, it almost looks like the wing. I don't have to do too much. Let's see, I'm going to do something like this for the wing of the owl. I might have to cut it just a little bit so it's not that long. I think that looks good. And of course, you want to use the nice side. Now, this is where we're going to do some slip and score. So let me show you up close. Okay, so I have my cup of water here. And I'm just going to dip my finger in there. I'm going to put some water on that smooth side. And I'm going to kind of like do a tic-tac-toe board that's scoring it. Now for my wing here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some water on it and then do a tic-tac-toe. And then you're just going to press it into the body, just like that. I'm going to get another piece, and any extra clay that you see floating around, use it. Don't waste it. And so I'm just adding it to this. And this looks like a good piece, maybe a little bit more for the head. And I'm going to make almost like a bowl, okay? So you want to pound it in your hand a little bit. Going to add just a little bit of water, smooth it out. And then we're going to start to make almost like a pinch pot. It's going to be an upside down pinch pot. So the way I do that, I kind of like dip my finger in or thumb into some water and just press in. And then you're just going to pinch it. And this is how you would actually make a pinch pot too. So I'm just kind of pinching around. Okay. Now with the body, we're going to take a look, and that looks pretty good. We are going to attach it, and the way we're going to attach it is just going to add that water, and we're going to just add a little scoring, because you want it to adhere. And then where's the nice side? Here's the nice side. And then I'm just going to pinch the head onto the body like that. Once the armature is made, we're going to get some clay. And this is going to be for the hat. So get just a little bit of water. I'm going to make a ball first, and then we're going to actually roll it out. All right. So just pound it in your hand a bit. Make that ball, and then we're going to start to roll it out with the roller. And once again, you want it approximately 1/4 of an inch thick. And one thing that's important is that it is smooth. You definitely want it smooth. So if you see any bumps, you want to fix that. But for the front, you definitely, well, actually all around, but you want it nice and smooth. And I'm going to add a little extra clay to the bottom. Just smash it in there. It's still pliable. And we're going to take a look, roll it just a little bit, make it nice. It's looking okay. Let's see. We can make it a little bit better. So I really want it to look like that cone hat. And then we're just going to stick onto that. So there's the pom-pom. And once again, form the hat. Try to make it as, you want it more like a cone actually. You want it to look like sort of like an ice cream cone. So thinner on the top, more at the bottom. Okay, so we're working on the body so far. I got the hat on, I got the ears going. And basically the way you do the ears is just get a little piece of clay and you just kind of mold it and make it look like an ear. And it always helps to have that drawing that you do right next to you so you know exactly how it's going to look almost. The owl eyes. So we want 2 large circles. We're going to do that slip and score again. So I'm rolling 2 circles and I'm just going to press down with my thumb like this. And same thing with this one, has a little bit too much clay. Let me add a little and press down again just like that. So we want this nice and smooth. We want it kind of a little bit oval, not so round. And now we're going to do the slip and score onto, now if you notice, I kind of drew where the head of the owl is, and this is going to help me with knowing where to put the eyes. So of course I'm going to do that slip and score again. Slip and score. I just dipped my scoring tool in there. All right, so now we're just going to press in. And this is going to make it pop just a little bit, pop out the owl eyes, okay? So we're going to do that. Press in. Check to see if that looks pretty good. I think it does. We're just going to add some water to smooth it out. Because there's actually 3 layers. This is the big one. This is the big layer. It's the big layer. And now we're going to do the second layer, which is sort of like the same thing. It's a smaller piece of clay though. And you want to make sure you get some water. Going to do some scoring. On the eye. And it's almost like they're going to be bugging out. You could have a lot of fun with this. And then the two little pupil parts. Okay, so you can kind of see how the owl turned out. We're going to let it dry and then we're going to paint it. And it's kind of like our Johanna Parker owl. So I cannot wait to paint it. Okay, so it is done. And I think it looks really, really awesome. Look how cute. I love it. I think it turned out great. Perfect. Okay, so I had another idea to add maybe like a little pumpkin with a little handle. So this is foam clay, and this just dries and it's very foamy, it's very light. But I think that would look really cute with a little pumpkin, so I think I'm going to do that. Okay, so I got the little pumpkin done. I think it looks really cute. I also did a base that the owl's gonna sit on with some fall leaves hanging off the side. And now I'm gonna just add some Mod Podge. The kind of Mod Podge I'm using is the, this one. It's the gloss. And that'll give it that shine to make it look like it was fired. All right, it's looking good. I'm excited. See, when you add the Mod Podge, all you do is you just coat it on. And I like using a foam brush. And you just want to make sure there's no clumps of the Mod Podge. And it looks like Elmer's glue, right? So it's really easy and it dries clear. And so it's not going to look cloudy like this. And that's what's going to give it its shine. All right, let me continue adding my Mod Podge and we're almost done. Okay, I put the Mod Podge on, so it's starting to dry, and it should dry, like I said, clear with a slight shine. I'm excited about that. I even did the pumpkin. There's a little pumpkin. I have it hanging there so I can let it dry. Well, I think it looks really cute. I just love it. And look at the little pumpkin. It's like he's holding it in his mouth. And the little hat. I love that with the pom-pom. I think it turned out really, really, really cute. And it's perfect. It's gonna look perfect in my china closet. Yay, awesome. Mr. Owl, Halloween Owl. Thank you so much for joining us on Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas today. Hopefully you enjoyed that little art project. I think it turned out really, really cute. And if you have any questions, just leave them down below. Thank you so much. And remember, if you want that homey vibe, you need to subscribe. And please give this video a like. Until next time, my friends, happy healthy living. Bye-bye.